Hey Bookends! Welcome to a 10-minute book review. I'm 10. This week's book review is going to be on Evil Thing by Serena Valentino. So we like to start off each one of our book reviews with a star point, as in out of 10 stars, how many stars did this book honor? We also like to give it a rating, as in if this was a movie or a TV show, what would it be rated? Full disclosure, we received this book for free as an art copy via NetGalley for the purpose of review. So jumping right on in. For a rating, well, let's start with the star point, I should say. I'm sorry. So for the star point, we give this 8 out of 10 stars. It was a wonderful read. And for a rating, I'd say PG. There's nothing in this book that someone who watched the cartoon movie would find off-putting. Like there's nothing particularly violent, there's no cursing, there's no sex. So I would say someone maybe 10 and up would be able to read this, even though as an adult I thoroughly enjoyed it. Perhaps someone who's younger might not understand everything, but they also wouldn't be traumatized by what they're reading either, for the most part. So basically in all of her books, they're memoirs. This was supposed to be memoirs of the villains who we've known in the classic Disney movies, and basically we're learning about the things that they've done, why did they do them, and we're seeing everything from their perspective through her writing their memoirs. So we find out that Cruella, anyway, she was raised in a very posh home in England. It doesn't exactly say the year she was born, but from how everything sounds like it's set up, I'm going to say early 1900s, I'm going to say. And she was born to a loving father and a neglectful mother, but she loved her mother very, very much. Like, she loved her mother above all other adults. Her mother could do no wrong. She also had a governess, Miss Pickett, who in actuality was more of a mother to Cruella than her actual mother. So when she was younger, she would look forward to this hour she spent every day before her mother went out to do whatever it is she was going to do, socialize, shop, what have you. So Cruella would spend the beginning part of her day with her governess teaching her, because apparently rich kids didn't go to regular school. Maybe rich girls didn't go. That's what it was, rich girls, because she said if she had been born a boy, she would have been off at boarding school. But because she was born a girl, they weren't expecting her to do much with her head. Like, sweetie, just marry somebody. Stay cute, stay thin, and marry somebody rich, kind of a deal. So she had a governess, and the governess is basically her teacher. So every day for about an hour, she would go downstairs to the morning room, which is just a fancy living room or like a fancy family room. And she would spend about an hour with her mother, who would basically pick her outfits apart. She was nice nasty, her mother. Like, oh, Cruella, it's so nice to see you. Ugh, that dress again? Oh, Cruella, I've missed you, darling. Oh, your hair. Yeah, she was nice nasty for no particular reason other than she could be. Cruella's father, on the other hand, he was attentive, but because he was the actual money maker, he wasn't around that much either. But Cruella still felt his love. She just felt as though she needed to achieve something to be like her mother. You know, because she said her mother was beautiful, her mother was successful. When I say successful, she didn't have a job. So she was like a successful socialite. And she was fashionable, and she always wore furs. Growing up, Cruella's best friend was Anita. So we all remember Anita from the movie. She was the one who was married to Roger. Her dog met his dog, and their dogs had puppies, the 101 Dalmatians. So they were best friends from childhood. Anita was not rich, but apparently, we're not sure how she came into the guardianship of another rich family. I think it was like a friend of the rich guy's family died, and so he started taking care of her. And so Cruella meets her as a child, and they become best friends. You know, it's interesting. So Anita is the sole person that Cruella never says anything bad about. Like, she calls her the sweetest, kindest person that she knows. And even when people go to make fun of Anita because of her class, she's not from a high standing, she's not from good blood or a good family, Cruella always stands up for her. Even when her mother, the person who she wants to emulate and be like the most, even when her mother says something bad about Anita, she stands up for her. That's the only thing that she will stand up for when it comes between her and her mother. It's Anita. That's pure and simple. That's it. Anita and Cruella's relationship is interesting. So, from what I read in the book, because it's supposed to be from Cruella's point of view, it seems as though Cruella was asexual, and she saw Anita as her forever friend, her forever companion. She even planned out a life with them being best friends traveling the world. Cruella never wanted to get married, and every time it was brought up, the topic of marriage, she would always indicate in some way, one, I don't want to get married because I don't need nobody in my life like that. Two, the only person I do need in my life is Anita because she got everything I need. And it's never in any sexual way. There's never any sexual component or sexual attributes that are given in the book as to why she wants to be around Anita. It's always because of how sweet and kind Anita is and how deep their friendship is. What drives Cruella into becoming the person that she was? There's no spoilers in this, so you can still read the book and enjoy it. What I personally feel drove her to it, I mean, she had a lot of hardships happen to her, and the one constant in her life was Anita. And like I said, that she even said that she was planning out a life with Anita as her best friend, and them jet setting and traveling the world and shopping and basically kind of living the life that her mother lived, but a bit freer because no kids, no man. Cruella fell into a place that aces call the dreaded gray. What is the dreaded gray? I have a blog post on our website, 10minutebookreviews.com, 10 with a T-I, bookreviews.com. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description. But the shorthand definition of the gray area is basically, for asexuals, we can love someone as deeply as someone would in a romantic relationship, but without the sexual component to it. And so it's the idea of saying, this is my best friend, and I could move in with my best friend, and I could live with my best friend, like physically live in the same home, not see them every other day, not call them. I could physically live in the same home with my best friend for the rest of my life and be happy. I wouldn't need a boyfriend, wouldn't need a husband, wouldn't need anything else. A cat would be nice perhaps, but wouldn't need anything else. Like, me and this particular person, we could live together and they would be all that I would need. It's a hard concept for people who are sexually inclined to kind of grasp. But yeah, if you look at the blog post, it'll make a little more sense. But that's basically it. And so Cruella felt that way about Anita. She felt as though Anita is the one person that I could spend the rest of my life with happily. Not in a sexual way, not in a let's get married way, but in This is the deepest friendship I've ever had. She's the only person I ever want to interact with and be around. And I could do this forever. Anita decides that... I'm not going to put this on Anita. I'm not going to put it on Anita. Because Anita didn't do anything wrong. Cruella didn't do anything wrong. Her mental break was her mental break. You know, that was on her. But she didn't do anything wrong by having a mental break. And Anita didn't do anything wrong by making her decisions either. Anita was friends with Cruella just as deeply as Cruella was friends with Anita. So they were both deeply entwined in the way of friendship. But Anita's thoughts in regards to friendship were more of the classical thoughts in regards to friendship, as in, you are my best friend. You are my best friend in the world, and we may travel places, we may go places, and one day when I get married, you are going to be my best woman. You're going to be my maid of honor, and we're going to have our kids play together, and we're going to grow old as best friends, and our husbands are going to go places. She had a classic sense of friendship, even a classic sense of best friendship. Cruella, on the other hand, had a different view of friendship, which we discussed. So when Anita decided that she was going to have her own career choices, that did not include Cruella, because Cruella's like, listen, bruh, I'm rich. You friends with a rich chick, so you ain't gotta work. We just gonna live. I got my daddy's money. We gonna live. Anita's like, you know, I don't want you for your money. You're my best friend. We couldn't maintain that best friend dynamic if you were paying for me to be your best friend, or if I had to depend on you for everything, because at some point you might see me as a drain or a bill, or I don't want to be a burden on you. Now, Cruella never saw Anita as a burden. In every aspect of the word, Cruella was chivalrous towards Anita. She even stood up against her own peers, people that were on her level. She even stood up to adults. Like, a teacher was like, okay, this is one girl, Arabella, who she could have got it. Like, she could have got it. Anyway, Arabella was talking about Jane Eyre. So the teacher was actually talking about a book that Jane Austen wrote. And Anita said it was something about someone from having little means or little standing, whatever. And Arabella was like, you would know about that, wouldn't you, Anita? Trying to say, you're poor. You're poor. And so Cruella stood up and was like, Arabella Slapton, watch your mouth, or I'm going to teach you what your name really means. Because the girl's name was Slapton. The girl was like, teacher? She just threatened me. Did you hear her threaten me? And the teacher was like, Cruella, sit down. And Cruella was like, teacher, how you gonna be mad at me for what I just said to her, but you're not saying anything to her about what she just said to Anita? Teacher was like, well, she ain't lie, so what am I gonna get mad about? Chick is poor. That's not her money that she's spending to be in here. It's her benefactor's money that she's spending to be in here. So she is poor. No lies told. Sit down or go to the principal's office. Cruella was like, I'm not beat. And you gonna hear my words. And Anita like calms her down, because Cruella was ready to go all in. Full all in. It don't matter that this is a teacher. It don't matter that the rest of the class don't like her. No, she was about to go full all in on them. But Anita calms her down. She's like, okay, Cruella, no, it's cool. It's whatever. These people don't like me. They won't be the first, won't be the last. When she does go into the principal's office, and the principal is like, you know, or headmistress, when she is like, you know, you need to act better, I'm gonna call your mother and do da 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 da. Cruella's like, how about this? How about my money is donated to the school? How about it's not my mother's money, it is my money, because my daddy dead and he gave that money to me. And if you keep running your mouth, you're not gonna get that money. If you keep letting these teachers run their mouth at Anita, you're not gonna get that money. If you keep letting these people mistreat my best friend, you're not gonna get that money. The headmistress apologizes to Cruella. And Cruella's like, it's all good. I'm gonna give you that money. but I'm gonna add in a little bit extra because your hat ugly. So with that extra, go get yourself a better hat. So Cruella, she went to bat for Anita. 110%. Always went to bat for Anita. And in her mind, she believed that this was going to be a forever thing, that she was always going to be there for Anita. She didn't see it as taking care of Anita. She saw it as being there for Anita. This is my best friend, and I'm always going to be there for her. Anita appreciated being there for her, but Anita was like, I'm not going to be a burden on you. You can't take care of me forever. You can't shield me from the world forever. You can't be the wall in between me and the rest of the world forever. So when Anita makes the decision to have her own career, go off and marry Roger, things of that nature, that kind of broke Cruella. A lot of other things were going on in Cruella's life that you'd have to read the book / memoir to kind of piece together, but knowing that her best friend, the person that she was content to spend the rest of her life with, was now going to be spending the rest of her life with someone else. In Cruella's mind, Anita was the center of her attention. Not in a perverse or obsessive way, because it wasn't. But she was the center of her attention. And everything else was peripheral. It was Anita, and then everything else was peripheral. When Anita decided to marry Roger, of course, Roger becomes the center of Anita's attention, and everything else is peripheral, as it should be. Even Cruella, who's her best friend, she still loves Cruella deeply, but once again, she has this classic sense of friendship, which there is nothing wrong with. Cruella had a different sense of friendship, which there was nothing wrong with. I would say I think some things could have been resolved with a conversation, but there is no way to truly explain it. It's hard to explain being asexual without coming across as someone thinking that either you just haven't met the right person or that you're gay and repressed. No one wants to just believe I am neither gay and repressed and I'm not looking for the right person. I'm looking for any person. My mind doesn't think that way, and so my body doesn't react in that way, and so I don't have those wants. So it's hard to have that kind of a conversation with someone because no one actually believes it to be the case, or they find it hard to be the case, or they have their own reasons as to why it is the case. So I can't say that a conversation would have fixed that, but I will say it could not have hurt to have one. Also, the reason why she wanted the puppy fur coat will surprise you. Watching the movies, all of the movies, it doesn't give you the actual reason why. You think this crazy old lady wants these fur coats because she's crazy. There's a deeper reason as to why she wants to make a fur coat out of puppies. Also, too, fun fact, her and Anita are the same age. So when I was watching the cartoon movie when I was younger, and also the cartoon series, because, that happened, it always felt like Cruella de Vil was older than Anita and Roger. As it turns out, Roger is older than the both of them, and Anita and Cruella are the same age. So who would have thunk it? I think she just always appeared older because of how gaunt she looked, how pale she looked, and of course the white hair. I always assumed that she had gone white with age, but apparently that's just her look. But yeah, I highly recommend this book. It's written in the form of a memoir. Also, at the end of it, you get to you kind of break the third wall because you get to speak to the author in a way, and she kind of says how it is spending time in Hell Hall, because she's spending time in Hell Hall. And it has a happy ending. Happy enough. I'll put it that way. I can't say that it's the happiest because, of course, Anita still sees Cruella as a friend, as you can see from the cartoon series. She still doesn't like Roger, which I can understand. I wouldn't like my best friend's husband either if he made a song about me being evil, even if it was right. But it had a happy enough ending to leave us, the reader, feeling as though there was closure. So I do appreciate that. I love how Disney gives closure. Whether it's the closure you want or not, they do give closure. So this has been a 10-minute book review on Evil Thing by Serena Valentino. I'm sorry that I didn't have anything really to show you, because it is an art copy. So, and it was on NetGalley. So I just have my tablet. My mom bought me this case. Well, she bought it for someone else, and I took it. And then she gave it to me because I took it. But yeah, so there's no cover for it, so I just put it up in the corner like I do when I don't have covers for books. When I do have covers for books. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, then please like and subscribe. Bye, bookends.